12th December 1916. My mind was worried about being so constantly turned towards such petty things, moving in so narrow a circle of practical and immediate thoughts. It has learnt to see Thee in everything, Lord, and in the least thing it is aware of Thee and rejoices in Thee. But even while delighting in Thee thus and recognizing Thee in the most futile things and activities as well as in the vastest and noblest, it wonders why these prevail over the others. Many a time during these last months has it tried to react against this tendency, but always in vain. Is it because thou findest it well thus, or because it is incapable of being otherwise? It put the question to Thee, and as always, Thy smile came to comfort it. But the precise answer has not made itself heard. Now, for this mind, the least object becomes an unfathomable mystery, and everything is a constantly renewed cause for wonder. 14th December 1916. I hail Thee, O Lord, and bow before Thee, but I shall not write, for Thou hast just told me in reply to a question about the present meditation. We have had a private conversation which even Thy own physical ears should not hear. December 20th, 1916. The days have gone by, stormy and troubled to all appearance, but calm and strong in their reality, reflecting Thy divine will. They have gone by, deploying, disclosing, developing once more all the unexpected and varied splendor of Thy untiring divine play. And how marvelous it is to watch this when one perceives the infinite crisscrossing of the movements Thy eternal will creates. When one knows that all this is from all eternity and that it is only in our imperfect faculties that it becomes an uninterrupted succession of facts in which we are gratuitous and ignorant actors. We act with the apparent unconsciousness and blindness of those who do not know, and yet I do know, and even while being an actor, I am a spectator too. But I am still not pure enough for Thee to unveil before my eyes the totality of the effects and results. It is only partially and imperfectly that I know them before the act and am permitted to act with the knowledge of the why, with a full illumination as to what Thou expectest from me. When, O Lord, shall I have this purity? But for that too, I am no longer impatient and no longer implore. I see how much thy splendors are obscured and veiled in this miserable and poor instrument. But thou knowest why it is thus. And these, its shadows and weaknesses, thou dost also use for thy eternal ends. My soul is in prayer and bows down in love before what it can understand and know of thee. My soul is in prayer and gives itself unreservedly to thee in one of those sublime fervors which culminate in identification. My soul is in prayer, and my body too, and my thought is silent in a mute ecstasy. Communication received at 5:30 in the evening after meditation. As thou art contemplating me, I shall speak to thee this evening. I see in thy heart a diamond surrounded by a golden light. It is at once pure and warm, something which may manifest impersonal love. But why dost thou keep this treasure enclosed in that dark casket lined with deep purple? The outermost covering is of a deep, lusterless blue, a real mantle of darkness. It would seem that thou art afraid of showing thy splendor. Learn to radiate and do not fear the storm. The wind carries us far from the shore, but shows us over the world. Wouldst thou be thrifty of thy tenderness? But the source of love is infinite. Dost thou fear to be misunderstood? But where hast thou seen man capable of understanding the divine? And if the eternal truth finds in thee a means of manifesting itself, what dost thou care for all the rest? Thou art like a pilgrim coming out of the sanctuary, standing on the threshold in front of the crowd. He hesitates before revealing his precious secret, that of his supreme discovery. Listen, I too hesitated for days, for I could foresee both my preaching and its results, the imperfection of expression and the still greater imperfection of understanding. And yet I turned to the earth and men and brought them my message. Turn to the earth and men. Isn't this the command thou always hearest in thy heart? In thy heart, for it is that which carries a blessed message for those who are athirst for compassion. Henceforth, nothing can attack the diamond. It is unsatiable in its perfect constitution, and the soft radiance that flashes from it can change many things in the hearts of men. Thou doubtest thy power and fearest thy ignorance. It is precisely this that wraps up thy strength in that dark mantle of starless night. Thou hesitatest and tremblest as on the threshold of a mystery, For now the mystery of the manifestation seems to thee more terrible and unfathomable than that of the eternal cause. But thou must take courage again and obey the injunction from the depths. It is I who am telling thee this, for I know thee and love thee as thou didst know and love me once. I have appeared clearly before thy sight, so that thou mayest in no way doubt my word. And also to thy eyes I have shown thy heart, so that thou canst thus see what the supreme truth has willed for it, so that thou mayest discover in it the law of thy being. The thing still seems to thee quite difficult. A day will come when thou wilt wonder how for so long it could have been otherwise. Sakya Muni. December 21st, 1916. Lord, thou didst speak to me through the lips of one of those who have known thee best, most probably to make me understand thy lesson better. Was I then deaf to thy direct suggestion? And still, I do not understand at the moment what to do. Thou knowest what happiness would be mine if by thy grace I could be integrally transformed into a hearth of divine love. That love which is the first and highest manifestation of thy eternal truth, that love which is at once the completest expression in this world of thy truth and the most direct road to lead to it the human consciousness that has gone astray. In the days when I used to aspire, desire, and ask, how many times have I asked of thee the grace of this state as the one most in conformity with my present ideal of action. And at that time it seemed to me that the day I should be purified of all egoistic preference, thou wouldst choose this individual terrestrial being as an instrument of thy manifestation of love upon earth. And now that thou askest it of me, more than ever before do I feel my helplessness. For such a long time I thought I knew what love was. And now that I no longer see anything that cannot be called love, I also no longer see anything that may specially be called love. And how can I be that which I can no longer define? That state which I can no longer distinguish? And yet, thou didst show me yesterday that I was holding enclosed in a dark sheath one of thy most precious and powerful gifts. Lord, all my being aspires to obey thy voice, to conform to thy law. But it does not know in its outer consciousness, does not understand what thou expectest of it. It feels indeed that at present its love is a passive state, and that thou wouldst awaken it to an active state. But how to pass from one to the other is what escapes it. It knows that this active state of love should be constant and impersonal, that is, absolutely independent of circumstances and persons, since it cannot and must not be concentrated upon any one thing in particular, and in this it will resemble the present passive state of love, which is pure, unchanging, and impersonal. But what it still does not know is how, even while retaining its purity, unchangeability, and impersonality, qualities now inherent in its being, it can resume its activity. That is why this evening I implored Lord Mitra, who so perfectly symbolizes thy truth of love, asking him to come to my help and enlighten my ignorance, dissolve my doubts, vanquish my hesitations, break down the last obstacles, and take possession of this physical instrument, so that it may become what thou expectest it to be. But my speech is timid, and my voice faltering, and I do not know if Lord Mitra heard my prayer.